And a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable. A home run.
Welcome to the Sanders Sports Show. And now here is your host, Dave Sanders.
Welcome into this not live but recorded version of the Sanders Sports Show. I'm your host, David Sanders. Thank you for taking time out to listen to the podcast today. Sorry I can't be live. Next week it should be back to normal, so don't fret. I will not let you live listeners down. I got a lot to talk about. A lot happened last week. NASCAR, a few penalties, a few confiscations happened. We'll let you know the updates on that. Over in baseball, of course, that's getting underway. NHL hockey in the final playoff push. Only a few games left in the season. Yeah, there's something happening this Thursday in New York regarding the NFL. I don't know what it is yet, though. We'll look into that, too. But, of course, what everyone is focused on right now, just coming down from the high of March Madness, we continue the basketball push, and we go into the NBA playoffs. And if you're on the road this year in the playoffs, it hasn't been very nice to you. The road teams so far through 10 games are 1-9, with the Bulls actually winning a game last night, 90-82, after getting destroyed on Saturday by the Nets. Other than that, every home team has won already. So home teams seem to have their home court advantage working for them. That includes, of course, the Spurs taking apart the Lakers 91-79 on Sunday. We all knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I was one of those people that said, yeah, the Lakers are not going to make the playoffs. And I didn't think they were going to. If it wasn't for Dwight Howard late, they wouldn't have made it. If he wouldn't have started coming around late, it wouldn't have happened. Same with, losing Kobe. I thought that was going to kill him completely. I thought they would have just lost the last 5 or 6 of their games. It didn't happen. They snuck into the playoffs, actually made it to the 7th seed. I stand by my prediction, though. They're going to get swept. Easily. Their series resumes tomorrow night in San Antonio. Of course, the other game that I was actually shocked at was the Thunder and the Rockets. I mean, James Harden coming down for his first playoff series against his old team. I understand it didn't look too bad. I mean, I will, spoiler alert, I will let you guys know, over this whole weekend, I did not watch one playoff game. I am ashamed of myself. I am. I will be watching tonight, though. I'll get to those games here in a minute, but the Rockets, everyone was talking about the Rockets being a dark horse team and being a team that could go into the next round or even into the conference championship, which I didn't see that happening. But I did hear a few sports analysts talking about that, about them being a team you got to watch out for who can sneak up on you. They didn't seem like it. Not judging by the score, 120-91. Saw the highlights of it. They were so out of sync. Thunder had their number. I think I had the Thunder winning 3-1 if it went Thunder Rockets. I stand by that. And, well, Dub picks continuing with the Heat, demolishing the Bucks. I mean, the Heat should just get a free pass. I mean, I'm no Heat fan. I actually can't stand LeBron. This is arrogance to me that I don't like. But if you're the NBA, I mean, you have a team with a losing record. Yeah, I know a few years ago Atlanta had a losing record. They damn near beat Boston. This ain't happening this year, though. The Heat will average 20-point wins. I mean, 110-87, that's going to happen almost every game of the series. Had the Pacers beating the Hawks. I think I had that one going to a full 3-2. I still stand by that. I mean, the Hawks without Josh Smith, the first game, they looked horrible. If he comes back in the next game, which I believe is tonight. Let me double check that here. No, they are tomorrow night. Tonight it's just the Bucks and the Heat. That's slaughter. That's on NBA TV at 7:30 Eastern. Celtics and the Knicks tip off at 8 Eastern over on TNT. You know, I said it on last Tuesday's show, and I'm going to stick by it. Boston didn't look bad. I did catch a little bit of that game on Saturday, just to see how they were doing because of what happened. And, of course, that was the first day back to normal, basically normal, in Boston after everything that happened on Thursday and Friday, the whole manhunt. That had me gripped. I mean, I don't know about you guys. That whole, from Thursday night, about 10:30 my time, over here in Tacoma, till about 5 or 6 o'clock, I think it ended on Friday. I mean, I got like 4 hours of sleep. I just had to know what was going to happen with the whole suspects in the marathon bombings. It was gripping TV. I give the news agencies credit. It was gripping TV. It was more drama than half the NBA games that happened on Saturday. Actually, Saturday and Sunday. The only dramatic game on Saturday, really, was the Nuggets-Warriors game. That came down to a last-second layup by Andre Miller. There were 2 games where blowouts. Clippers blew out the Grizz. Nets blew out the Bulls. Knicks didn't blow out the Celtics, but they beat them. But the Celtics didn't look too bad. Like I said, from the little bit I watched of that game, they didn't look too bad. Then we go to Sunday, Pacers blowing out the Hawks. Spurs blowing out the Lakers. Heat blowing out the Bucks. Thunder blowing out the Rockets. A lot of blowouts. I mean, this is supposed to be the playoffs. I don't care if you're an 8th seed. It's the playoffs. Come to play. I don't care if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't care if they have LeBron, the NWO on the other side. Wrestling fans will get that reference. I don't care if they have Hollywood LeBron James. I don't care if they have Bosch. I don't care if they have Wade. I don't care who they have. It's the playoffs. Play your heart out. 110 to 89 is not playing your heart out. Last night we got, from what I understand, like I said, Bulls beating the Nets 98-82. Clippers taking a 2-0 lead over the Grizzlies, though. A little bit closer this time, 93-91, on Chris Paul's last second shot. These are playoff games, and this is what needs to be happening from here on out. As I said, tonight we got 2 games. Tomorrow night, Lakers back in action against the Spurs. Rockets and Thunder, game 2. And the Hawks and the Pacers, the rest of the game 2s wrap up tomorrow. Once again, have Thunder beating the Rockets. I think the Rockets will take 1 in Houston, and then the Thunder will beat them in game 4. Pacers and Hawks have the Pacers. I have them going 3-2, though. That's going to be a tough series. I think it's going to be all home wins for that series. And Lakers and Spurs, you all know how my feelings are on the Lakers. They're going to get destroyed. Even with Meta World Peace, even with Nash isn't even himself. I mean, Nash, I think he's done after this year. If he doesn't get a ring, I think he's done. And that's a shame, because he is the most deserving player of a ring in my eyes in the league that doesn't have one. I think he's the best player in the league that doesn't have a ring, to be honest. I think he has been for the last 15 years. And he started out with the Suns, got traded to the Mavericks, thinking he'd win a title there. Goes back to the Suns when they have Amare, along with Sean Marion and some other tools that they should have won with. Nope. It's not Nash's fault. It's not really fair to blame him. It's not really fair to blame all the talent around him, which leaves coaching, of course. Now, speaking of coaching, I got a doozy for you here in a minute if you haven't heard this. Actually, that's a good segue. I'm gonna go on a limb and say the Lakers just need to give up now, if they haven't already. I mean, they have no chance. They have as much chance as the Cavaliers landing Phil Jackson as head coach. Yeah, have you heard about this? The Cavs want Phil. They've reached out to him. The only way I see Phil accepting this job, the only way, is because, hey, it's a challenge. I haven't taken a team from nothing. Every team I've had has had a star already. Had MJ. Yeah, he wasn't MJ yet, but he had him. Just got Pippen. Went on to win 6 rings. Went to L.A., had Kobe, had Shaq, went on to win 3 more rings. You can't tell me the Cavaliers are going to get Phil Jackson out without something, without some sort of incentive. Maybe they're trying to push hard on we're trying to lure LeBron back next year after next season card, which that, in my eyes, is a long shot. Unless they put a team around him in Cleveland, he ain't going back. He has a team around him in Miami. Granted, it's an all-star team, but it's a team nonetheless. But to say that the Cavs want Phil without having any big-name stars, besides Kyrie Irving, who you got? Yeah, exactly. I don't even know the roster off the top of my head except for Kyrie Irving. And that's sad. I don't even know if they still have Varejao. I think they still have Varejao. I know they don't have Hickson. He's in Portland. You had J.J. Hickson. That was a good draft. Trade him 2 years later. If anything, if Phil takes any job in basketball, it's hard to argue with him going. It's hard to argue against him going to Seattle once we get the Kings, which I'll have an update here in a minute on that. But it's hard not to see him in the front office up here with Larry Bird. I mean, there's been so much rallying, so much support for this team up here to bring the Kings up from Sacramento to Seattle, that they have these big names targeted, and I'm sure there's been discussions and some sort of tentative agreements to have their names thrown around the way are. But to say that Cleveland is interested in them, what's Cleveland done? They made it to the finals, 1 year with LeBron? Got swept? Unless they get LeBron back and then put another team around him, I wouldn't even expect Alvin Gentry to go to the Cavs. That's how bad they are. Yeah, they have one bright, shiny star. How far did that get them last time they had one bright, shiny star? A kid named LeBron. Speaking of the Sonics deal, a lot of back and forth on Twitter about it. Mayor Kevin Johnson of Sacramento actually saying that the fans up here in 2008 didn't care about the Sonics leaving. Yeah, we did. I was up here in 2008. They cared. They cared a hell of a lot. It was the mayor at the time, Mayor McGinn, who didn't care. Sorry, Mary Nichols. Mary McGinn's in right now. Mary McGinn is actually pushing for a return of the NBA to the Emerald City, but it was Mayor Nichols back in 2008 that didn't care. The fans cared. Fans were out in swarms trying to save this city's prize jewel, the only team with a championship in Seattle. Among the major four sports. I mean, we have soccer titles, we have WNBA titles. I'm talking about MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL. The only team with a major Big Four title. But just to say that is insulting. I mean, he hasn't pulled out that kind of a card yet, and it's kind of interesting that he's doing that now. Because after the meetings last week, I mean, Stern said that there's no decision made. That's why there wasn't a show on Friday. I announced a show on Friday. I was either going to take a shot at Yeager in celebration or a shot in Yeager in defeat. I took a shot at Yeager anyways in hopes that they come that this gets done here soon. And Commissioner David Stern actually coming out and saying that he, and these are his words, during the draft lottery, there will be either a Sonics card or a Kings card. I do like that he has that kind of a deadline set. However, there's been so much that has gone wrong with Sacramento's deal, but they're still in this. I almost am inclined to lean toward Stern wants them to stay in Sacramento no matter what. Screw Seattle. That's the feeling I get from it, because Sacramento lost their main backer, their main whale, because he had a conflict of interest. He ran a sports agency which represented some of the stars of the NBA. So he had to back out. He got another one right afterwards, but then we have the city a group in the city of Sacramento that has basically filed a lawsuit. Pretty much the same thing that was happening in Seattle. Ours got thrown out of court, though, so the arena is going in no matter what in the Soto district. That's happening. Deal with it. Sacramento is having the same type of lawsuit. But the fact is, in Seattle, the land's already bought. The land's already paid for where the arena is going. Sacramento, they just have a plan and an idea of where it's going to go with no land bought yet. There are so many holes in Sacramento's deal, it's unreal. And the fact that they're even still alive in this negotiation just tells me how much Stern wants them to stay in Sacramento. He's basically in a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation right now. He really is. The fact that he is going to piss off the city one way or the other. He's either going to, once again, piss off Seattle, and basically we're just going to say, never mind, we don't want a team. That's what it comes down to. I mean, you're toying with our hearts here. You're toying with our fandom. Again, second time in 5 years. And then you have Sacramento, who got the Kings from Kansas City, I believe it was, back in the 80s. Yeah, they're a huge market. They have decent attendance rates. Yes, they do. So does Seattle. Fact is, where was this the last 3 years? I mean, this is the third time the Kings have come up for sale in the last 3 years. Almost went to Anaheim, almost went to Virginia Beach, almost went to a couple other places as well. I think San Diego was also a possibility for him at one point. Now that there's a real legit offer on the table and a real legit plan, Sacramento's scrambling to try and get things done at the last second, which they couldn't do 3 years ago. That's like telling your older child, like mid-20s, who you've been trying to tell to get a job for about 2-3 years now, who's been dating someone. You tell them, yeah, we'll move your girlfriend in. You get a job right there. That's like a slap in the face. It really is. And that's what it feels like Stern is. It's like he doesn't want to, but I mean, he's leaving next year anyway, so it's almost at the point where, why does he care? Let the new guy mop this mess up. But then the question was thrown around, what about expansion? Why can't we get another team or two out? That wasn't talked about at all. In fact, that was denounced every time it was brought up. So to say expansion is the answer, it really is. I mean, we have enough talent out there, I think. Get 32 teams in here, put one in Seattle, put one, I don't know. Who doesn't have a team that needs one? Everyone says Vegas. Vegas is never getting a professional team of any kind due to gambling laws. The closest they had to it in a professional team of any kind was the Las Vegas Outlaws of the XFL back in 2001. Shout out to those who remember the XFL and he hate me. I know there's a few of us still left out there. That's the closest Las Vegas will get, so they're out. Why not put another team back up in Canada? Toronto's not doing bad. They're selling their tickets pretty good. Why not try another team out in Vancouver? You have instant rivalries right there. Vancouver, Seattle, Portland. This is far from done, but it's getting closer, though, at the same time. It's getting closer to a decision, but still we're far, far, far away from a resolution, one way or the other. Gonna take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little NHL, about the playoff push, who's still alive, who's not, right here on the Sanders Sports Show, right here on Spreaker.com. Welcome back into the Sanders Sports Show. I am your host, David Sanders. Just a quick note, you can like our page over on Facebook, facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Go like the page, share it with your friends. Might have some big news coming up here. I know I said big news a while ago, but This time I actually have big news. Still waiting to finalize a few things, but I will report it there first. Go like the page and hear what's going to happen with the show. Also, I'm on Twitter at Sand Sports Show. Actually tweeted a couple things for the first time this weekend. Finally got it up. Need followers, though. I need people to actually read it and give me their feedback. So go ahead and follow that at Sand Sports Show on Twitter. Also, of course, you can leave me messages right here on the Spreaker webpage, Spreaker.com/SandersD84. And you also catch up on past episodes if you missed any. Also, we are on iTunes. I saw there was a lot of downloads this week. Thank you for that. I think we were approaching 40 downloads, as well as almost 40 actual listenings, either on Spreaker or on Facebook. So once again, thank you for the support, everybody. Do appreciate it. Share it with your friends. Let them know that the Sanders Sports Show is the new place to come and listen to your sports news. Well, the NHL is wrapping up. I know I said last week that I didn't know how many games were left. Apparently we're in the final week. Shortened schedules, I hate them. I really do. I mean, I'm glad there was hockey back. Trust me, I was so glad. I'm a huge hockey fan, huge Ducks fan. Same time, though, it's like, yeah, it's almost halfway done. It's not the same. Just like the NBA last year. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't think the Heat's title really means anything because it wasn't a full season, which they're well on their way to shutting everybody up, sadly. But I think we're going to get the same stigma on whoever wins the Stanley Cup this year. Defending champion LA Kings actually clinched their playoff berth last night. So they're in. They're not going to be the 8th seed, though, so we don't have to worry about them coming out of nowhere. Actually, over the past week, a lot of teams have clinched. There's still a lot. I mean, only 2 or 3 games left per team, but there's still a lot to be decided. Right now in the East, Pittsburgh, Boston, Montreal, and Toronto have wrapped up their playoff berths. Washington, the Islanders, and the Rangers, it's more of a who's going to win that division, who's going to win the Atlantic. One of those teams is guaranteed to be in the playoffs. Pretty much all 3 of them really are. The only team that's even knocking on the door is Winnipeg. They're the only ones that are outside the top 8, and they're only 1 point behind Ottawa and the Rangers. So the Rangers, the only team out of those 3 that actually have a chance of missing, with only a couple games left. But if the playoffs were to start today, it would be Pittsburgh, Ottawa, Boston Rangers, Washington Islanders, and Montreal and Toronto. God, that's going to be fun. If it's Montreal and Toronto, that's going to be fun. Over in the West, it's a little bit more open. Chicago, Anaheim, Vancouver, and LA have wrapped up their playoff berths. Anaheim and Vancouver wrapping up their divisions actually last night. Proud of that. But those are the only 4 teams in the West that have actually locked up their playoff spots. San Jose, St. Louis, Minnesota, Columbus, those are 5 through 8. Those are all 4 of those teams still vulnerable. And then there's still Detroit, Dallas, and Phoenix still mathematically eligible for the playoffs with only 3 or 4 games left. I mean, that's amazing to me. I mean, Phoenix would have to win out and have Dallas, Columbus, and Detroit lose to make it. That's pretty much their only scenario. But the West, it's the Wild Wild West right now in the NHL, and pretty much anybody could go out and come in. Excuse me. Speaking of scores from last night, we'll go over a few scores here. There were 5 games on the docket last night. Like I said, the Ducks did clinch the Pacific Division by beating the Oilers 3-0. Jets over the Sabres last night 2-1 to keep their playoff hopes alive. Penguins over the Senators. Penguins about 3 nights ago, I believe it was, wrapped up the top seed in the East. Congratulations to them. Just for the heck of it, decided to beat the Senators though 3-1. Red Wings blanked the Coyotes 4-0. Coyotes needed that too. And the Canucks beat the Blackhawks 3-1 to lock up the Northwest Division title. Tonight, got 10 games on the docket, a lot of playoff implications. You got the Canadiens and the Devils. You got the Jets facing the Capitals. Hurricanes and the Islanders. Over on NHL Network, we got the Penguins and the Sabres. On NBC Sportsnet, You got the Bruins and the Flyers tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Both those games, 7:30 Eastern. I got the Rangers and the Panthers. Very important game for the Rangers there. They need a win, or at least a tie. Sorry, not a tie, an overtime loss. I miss ties. I love shootouts, but I miss ties at the same time. It's weird. I got the Blues and the Avalanche. I got the Flames and the Predators. Kings taking on the Wild, and the Stars taking on the Sharks tonight. That also on NBC Sportsnet at 10 o'clock Eastern. Yeah, transition over from hockey to... Yeah, remember that event I told you about that's happening over on in New York on Thursday? It has something to do with football. I'm not too familiar with it. Yeah, apparently there's the NFL draft is this week. I've been bad. I will admit that I've been bad. I haven't been keeping up on the combines. I haven't been keeping up on the mocks very much. And really, there's not any reason to. I mean, there's really not a lot out there, ironically. And last year we had 1983 Part 2 happen with the quarterbacks, with Wilson, RG3, and Luck. But I don't... This year, it's going to be a lot of linemen, both offensive and defensive linemen, linebackers, pretty much positional players, like not even running backs, receivers, nothing really. It's not a sexy draft, let's put it that way. It's not a sexy draft at all. But it will be a draft that will be remembered because it will fill in that one last missing piece of insert team name here. Yeah, we have drafts like that once in a while. We haven't had one in a while. It's about time we do. I'm dreading my Cardinals pick because their top 10 picks recently haven't panned out very well. I mean, Matt Leinart, anybody? Really? Where's he at now? Yeah, he auditioned with Seattle, I think, or was going to attempt to sign with Seattle and then went with Tyler Thigpen instead. Like I said, I don't see it.
Hey there!
I don't see this draft pulling the ratings. I really don't. I would like to think so, but I don't think it will happen. I'd love to see my Cardinals take a lineman. We need so much help on the offensive line. We do. I still say we're going to go 5-11 this year, even with Carson Palmer. Yeah, that's right. We have Carson Palmer. Why do you hate us? I'm hoping Bruce Arians can do something with him because I'm not too optimistic about this year as a Cardinals fan. The NFL draft does start this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live from New York. I don't even know who the first round pick's predicted to be. That's a first. I actually like that. I do like that aspect because over the past few years, yeah, we know Andrew Luck's going first. Oh, yeah, we know Jake Long's going first. Oh, yeah, we know so-and-so's going first. I kind of hate that. I really do. A few other NFL news and notes that have happened over the weekend. In case you haven't heard, James Harrison, former Steeler, went where all the other criminals do. No, not to Oakland, to Cincinnati. Signed a multi-year deal with them. Says that he doesn't hate the Steelers, but he's going to rough somebody up. And you know he's going to. I mean, I give him 10 games. I think he'll be suspended 6 games this year. That's the over-under, 5.5 games. I'm going over. Also, a huge trade involving the Jets and the Tampa Bay Bucks on, I believe it was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday because I was watching the Jets games and the NASCAR race. By the way, Jets games this year was awesome. I'm loving how they're doing that. This year they're splitting them up, doing different events in different areas. I'm loving that. This means I get to see more rallycross. If you haven't watched rallycross, next time X Games is on, watch it. It is the greatest thing ever. I'll get to more of that here in a minute. When I get to NASCAR, I'll do a little X Games report afterwards too. But Darrelle Revis, who's been the subject of many trade rumors over the last couple months, finally got traded to the Tampa Bay Bucks. And then signed, I believe it was a 4-year deal, worth $96 million, I think it was. Making him the highest paid cornerback, at least in Tampa Bay history. Yeah, no, sorry, 6-year, $96 million contract. No guaranteed money, which for a superstar or someone who thinks he's a superstar as big as Darrelle Revis, that's huge. No guaranteed money. He's set to receive $16 million each year of the new deal. He was only set to make $6 off of the Jets deal. Jets in return got the number 13 overall pick this year, which they'll probably take a quarterback knowing them because they're trying to push Tim Tebow as far down as the Chargers they can. If you haven't heard my shows since the beginning, you go back and listen to them because those are my thoughts on Tebow. It's such a waste of talent what New York is doing to them. But yeah, they get the number 13 overall pick and I believe a third-round pick next year. Yeah, fourth-rounder that will improve to a third-rounder if Revis is on the roster on the third day of the 2014 league year. So, yeah, 2 draft picks out of it, including another first-rounder. Who knows what they're going to do with that? No one knows the mind of the Jets. I don't even think the Jets know the mind of the Jets. And last little tidbit before we go to break here. Jacksonville Jaguars unveiled a new uniform and new helmet. Why is this newsworthy, you ask? Well, A, they're going to a gold helmet. It really looks like something that came out of Oregon. It really does. Just with gold and blue instead of gold and green. But why is that news, you wonder? I mean, why is a new uniform such a big deal? Well, I bring you Denver Broncos, Tampa Bay Bucks. Hell, I would go outside the sport. Anaheim Angels. Quite a few teams have somehow turned their luck around after changing completely redesigning their uniform. The only thing is the Jaguars logo looks a little similar to their old one. That might just be what stops them. Don't ask me. I don't don't laugh because it's true. I mean, look at Denver. When they had the big orange D on their helmet, were horrible. Change it to the Broncos they have now. Won 2 Super Bowls. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, those ugly orange and white things. Ugly. Turned it into a red and gold with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers flag. Won a Super Bowl. Sorry, there was a bee in the studio. All right, yeah. Bee alert is over. At least I hope that was the only one. All right, what was I talking about? Hey, uniforms. Tampa Bay won a Super Bowl after changing theirs. Anaheim Angels finally got bought by Disney and got rid of those horrid uniforms that they had. Changed their uniforms to what they have now. Won a World Series. It is very conceivable. Andre, do not lose hope in your Jaguars. They have new uniforms. They might have a chance. In fact, that's the topic of the day. Haven't done one of those in a couple weeks. Topic of the day. Let me know what you think on Facebook, on Twitter, right here on Spreaker.com, on iTunes. I don't care. Leave me a message. Do you think the Jaguars have a chance with these new uniforms? Let me know what you think. Just judging off of history with new uniforms, new redesigns. What do you think? Gonna take a quick break. We'll come back, wrap up with some baseball, NASCAR, and Roulette games here on the Sanders Sports Show right here on Spreaker.com. Welcome back into the Sanders Sports Show. I don't know if it's breaking news or not, because I kind of saw it on the website. I didn't think anything of it. But it looks like Mike Brown, former coach of the Lakers, started out this season as the coach of the Lakers, looks like is going to go back to Cleveland. They're negotiating a contract that'll make him the Cleveland coach for the second time, according to leaked sources. Yeah. Like I said, you ain't getting Phil. Might as well go to someone who knows the system. Mike Brown's that would be a perfect fit there. All right, we'll move on to baseball. It's the beginning of the season. Still a lot to hash out, a lot of what-ifs, a lot of tangibles. Braves are still on just a tear. The only thing is they're not going to be with Jason Hayward for a while. Braves moved him to the 15-day DL after he had a appendectomy. So I hope he has a quick recovery there. Get to scores here in a minute. The Braves are actually in action right now. I'll get to their score here in a minute. Last night, exciting time up here in Seattle as King Felix Hernandez won his 100th game already. I think he's only like 25 or 24 or 25. I'm glad they wrapped him up for 7 years. I mean, I'm no Mariners fan. I'm an Angels fan. But to see somebody put their faith into a guy like this, I mean, you don't see that very often in baseball anymore. At least not pitchers, anyways. Now, if you're Albert Pujols, Josh Hamilton, yeah, they'll give you 10 years, 7 years, whatever, 5 years. But no, wrap up a 7-year contract with a pitcher, you don't see that very often anymore. Even with possible elbow issues they might be having, way to go, Mariners, for stepping up on that. Speaking of Albert Pujols, things aren't looking too good for him, actually. He's been reporting a little bit of ankle pain. His foot hurting real bad, quote-unquote. That's one thing that we cannot afford to lose right now. He's actually starting to produce again. Trying to keep him as the DH right now, which is cool. Put Trumbo at first base, which just don't put him at third. Please don't put him at third. That's all I ask. Don't put Trumbo back at third. But Pujols telling the LA Times that he is hurting real bad to the point where he says, I quote, I'm dying. Say he felt discomfort for the first time the other night and their extra inning win while running into second base on a double. Felt extreme discomfort. If I'm Albert, if I'm the Angels, I wouldn't push him this early. Don't make it something where he has to miss the rest of the season. If he's hurting now, have him get it looked at, have him get fixed, rehab, whatever. Don't wait until after the All-Star break where he could break something, he could tear something. Get it done now. That's what I would say if I was in charge. I know he's trying to be Mr. Tough Guy, Mr. Team Player, which is awesome. I love that about Albert because he is that kind of a team player. Don't kill yourself doing it, though. Please, Albert, please, I beg of you. As an Angels fan, as a lifelong Angels fan, do not kill yourself. I know we have a ton of big bats now with Trout, Hamilton, and even Iannetta showing some power again. Hamilton, Trumbo. Pujols is a big part of that offense, though. We need him. We need him more than we realize. I said the Braves are in action right now. They're in the bottom of the first. Braves are already up 1-0. Oh, actually, that is an older score. Let me get you an updated one. Yeah, actually, they're at the bottom of the third. The Rockies just tied it, actually. It was 3-2. Now it's 3-3. The only other game in action right now is the Marlins and the Twins. Twins are up 4-2 in the bottom of the seventh. Then we got a slew of other games tonight. Angels taking on the Rangers. Angels throwing out Jason Vargas, who's 0-2. Yeah, what a trade there. Going up against Alexi Ogando for the Rangers. Got the Cardinals and the Nationals tonight. Cardinals sending out Adam Wainwright. Nationals sending out Ross Detweiler. A's sending out Bartolo Colon to take on Jose Estevez and the Red Sox. Got the Pirates taking on the Phillies. Pirates sending out Jeff Locke, going up against Cole Hamels of the Phillies. Blue Jays sending out R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, to take on Miguel Gonzalez and the Orioles. Cubs taking on the Reds. Won't name the pitchers anymore. Royals taking on the Tigers. Dodgers taking on the Mets. Braves and the Rockies in the second game. They have a doubleheader today. Yankees and the Rays. Indians and the White Sox. Brewers, Padres. Mariners and the Astros. Hopefully the Mariners don't get slaughtered like last time. Yeah, they got slaughtered by the Astros 16-9. It was like 13-0 when I turned it off. And the Marlins and the Twins taking on each other in another doubleheader. And the Giants and the Diamondbacks fill out the schedule for the night. Talk a little NASCAR because we had a couple updates on some things. Well, first of all, of course, they were in Kansas this past weekend. Nationwide was off again, so of course, Travis Pastrana wanting to race, decided to go down to Brazil. I'll get to more of that in a minute. But Saturday's race, the truck race, Matt Crafton won a race with literally half the trucks left on the track. This was a very crash-filled race. There was a lot of... If you were on the outside of somebody in a turn, the person on the inside was in the wall. It was bound to happen. There's so much side force on these trucks that just spun whoever you were side drafting off of around. A couple scary wrecks. Todd Bodine's. That looked like he was going to hurt. But Matt Crafton wins. He survives, actually, that Destruction Derby. Coming out of that race, though, that's not the biggest news. The biggest news, Johnny Sauter, the 98 truck, who was the points leader, finished 5th at Kansas, had his fuel cell confiscated after the race. I don't know the reasoning yet. They're still, I think, looking... I think they're still looking into what was the issue with it, but it was taken. Actually, no, that was actually taken on opening day inspection. So we're expecting more, any news of that, penalties, fines, anything to be handed down here next week. So keep your ears out for that. Speaking of penalties, Penske has appealed. They're just outrageous penalties that they got assessed after the Texas race. The reason I say outrageous is because, yes, they failed pre-race inspection. They had illegal parts, allegedly, in the rear end of the cars. But to be docked 25 points in this point system, I think I made this point last week, is absurd. And it's absurd because it doesn't fit the molding of this points format. Maybe 10 points. Maybe 12. The money fine, I can see that, $100,000 apiece. Suspending the crew chiefs 6 races apiece, that I understand. The points, that's really the only problem I have with the fines if they are in fact illegal parts and they weren't supposed to be there. But now coming out is the fact that NASCAR might have been tipped off about said parts, which the finger of the blame has been pointed at Jimmy Johnson and Hendrick Motorsports. Of course, Johnson, Canals, everybody at Hendrick has denied these allegations that they when basically tattled on Penske. But as Richard Petty said, it's been done before. I mean, teams have said, "Hey, that doesn't look right. You might want to triple check that, check it like 10 times." It's happened before. I mean, who's to say that it wouldn't happen again? But in this day and age where everything's videoed, everything's on tape, everything has fans around. I mean, the way that these cars are inspected, there's a line of fans on both sides watching them get inspected. I mean, what other place can you go and watch somebody getting inspected and actually have a giant crowd there for it? NASCAR is, like I said, Penske is appealing the penalties, so they were able to keep their crew chiefs for the Kansas race. They are expected to hear on May 1st, so they get another race with their crew chiefs this Saturday night at Richmond. But it's kind of an interesting twist there that, I mean, Jimmy Johnson has been accused of cheating. At least Jimmy Johnson's team, his crew chief, Chad Knaus, has been accused of cheating. Now they're being accused of pointing the finger at a cheater. I mean, this team can't win. I'm no Jimmy Johnson fan. I'm a Ryan Newman fan out of that class. Ryan Newman's my guy. It's not that I don't like Jimmy Johnson. He's like Matt Kenseth to me. He's bland. And I'm sorry. I don't. A lot of people say Ryan Newman's bland. I've just been a fan of his. He is a little bland, but just Jimmy Johnson is just boring. It's like Matt Kenseth. It's boring having him in the lead all the time. Let somebody else have a shot. Is all I'm saying. But like I said, Nationwide was off. Travis Pastrana went down to Brazil, raced in his rally car for the Global Rallycross Series event down at the X Games. First time I've seen him use an all-dirt track. It was the dirt like you would see... If you see Beverly Hills Cop 2, you know the dirt I'm talking about. The red dirt that sticks to you, and if you kick it a little bit, it just causes a huge dust storm. That was the dirt these guys were racing in on Sunday. And to me, it was just... I loved that stuff. I fell in love with Rallycross when they debuted at the X Games, and it's the event I don't miss in the X Games. They had 4 qualifying heats. The last chance qualifier ended up being 10 cars in the final on a half-mile dirt road track. Yeah, it's just as bad as you would imagine. The first turn took out, I think, 4 cars, including Travis, which was sad. I want to see how well he'd do. I mean, he was on the outside of everything. As they were piling into turn 1, he was on the outside and still somehow collected damage, and enough damage not to run anymore. But a former IndyCar driver, former NASCAR driver, I think he's still doing a little bit of NASCAR actually, Scott Speed, in his first ever rally event. He hasn't raced rally anywhere else. First ever rally event. Takes home the gold. Congratulations to Scott Speed on that. Very impressed with Buddy Rice, too. Buddy Rice, former Indy 500 champion, actually getting behind the wheel. That's what I love about this. I mean, there's drivers from all walks of life, pretty much. IndyCar, F1, NASCAR, just motocross with Travis. I mean, I love that about this. And I would love to see, like, a Tony Stewart, Danica. I would love to see her do one of these races one of these days. But, yeah, if you get a chance to watch Global Rallycross, I think the next X Games is in July. If you get a chance to watch that, tune it on. You won't be disappointed. It's a lot of action, a lot of fun. And on that note, we'll about wrap it up today. I appreciate everybody who's going to be listening to this. I will be back next week. I should be back live. If not, check the Facebook page. I will let you know one way or the other. But I should be live. It is Tuesday. I'm not even sure what their schedule is anymore, but I think they're on. Go check out Fanalize This. My boys Jay Five Somewhere and Anthony Perry. Getting the LA side of things. I'll have a lot to talk about with the Lakers and trying to grasp onto that last little bit of hope that they might have. Yeah, I think that's even gone. But go check them out. Fanalize This over on Spreaker.com. Also check out their Facebook page, facebook.com/Fanalize This. That's Fanalize with an F. This. Also, if you're a bowling fan, go check out bowlingevolved.com. Everything you need from the casual bowler to the hardcore pro. Bowlingevolved.com has everything you need, tips and tricks from the pros, as well as keep up to date with all the Colorado River area bowling tournaments. Also, they're going to be starting, I believe, here in the next couple weeks, their podcast right here on Spreaker.com as well. So go check them out. And on top of all that, I just want to wish everybody a great rest of the week coming up. Stay safe out there, and as always, be good humans. Bye-bye.